everyone, it's Mish here, and welcome to my channel. Whether you're new or returning, I'm so happy that you have stopped by, and I hope you do keep stopping by for more. Today we are going to be doing another page in the Daphne Diary Gluebook journal. We've been working on this now for over a year, I guess. So it's getting pretty full. I will soon be binding in the signatures. Sorry, something just distracted me there for a second. So we've done quite a bit of stuff here. We've had some great fun. Today we'll be doing another page, and it's going to be a centerfold page. So I'm just going to take that out. If you would like to see the rest of the tutorials, they are in my Daphne's Diary Gluebook journal playlist. Just before we begin though, a couple of questions have been asked, and sometimes it's hard to kind of write responses of a lengthy description in the comment section. So if you did ever have a burning question, my email address is in the description box below, so don't hesitate to send me an email. But for those of you who are beginners, it was asked, what is a signature? So when books are put together, not every book, but they use the signature technique, it just means a group of pages. So in this glue book, in this journal, I have, is it 5? 1, 2, 3. So I have 5 signatures. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's 4 or 5. This one here is kind of stuck together. I think it's 4 or 5, yeah. Might be 6 there. So, and how big your signature is really is determined by you. Now, if right here I have a chunky spine, that's about 3 inches. So I knew that I could accommodate quite a bit of stuff here. And like I said, we've been working for a year in this. I will soon be maybe putting some dangles on the spine and making a closure. Finishing up the front and back pages because it is getting quite thick there. So in this one here, in this first signature, there's 3 pages that are folded in half, which would then give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 individual pages, but they're double-sided, so you're going to get 12 sides to work on. And that's quite substantial when you're adding things that are quite dimensional. If you're just doing a planner where you may only be doing flat stickers, then that would be fine. If you had a 1-inch spine, then one signature, kind of how I have the way it is now, would probably all that you could fit in that little journal. But I still probably could have weeded some stuff out, but as we've gone along, I can't weed out much more without actually taking out pages, and I don't really want to do that. So when the signatures are put together, they're then put in your journal. So for right now, I just have them put in with some stretchy twine that I think I got at Michael's, and that would allow me to take the pages in and out. But there's all kinds of ways that you can fix it to your journal. You can actually do a simple pamphlet stitch, which is just 3 holes, and then you sew it through. You can do that either including your spine so that you see the stitching on the outside, or how I did my garden story junk journal with a hidden spine, so that you're actually sewing your signatures onto another firm piece of, I use thick cardstock, and then you're actually gluing that against your cover so that you're not seeing any of that stitching. But there's other ways. There's brad binding, where you just put them through with brads on the outside, and then the brad on the inside, so that you can actually close up the brads and take pages in and out. And there's gluing them in. There's just a lot of ways. So that's kind of the basics on what a signature is. And then I was asked a question about fussy cutting, and I'll get more into the fussy cutting when we get into the page that we're going to do today. So I have taken out my, put this aside, the page that I want to use for today. And we are going to be using images from number 3, 2024. So there was a poster in there, and I don't think we're going to get it all on camera, but my thumbs aren't, my arthritis is really bad in my hands right now. So there's the bottom part of the poster. And what I want to do is I have cropped off the top of it. So this would have been the center there. Okay. And then I then just took, and I knew that my pages measure 5.5 or 11 across. So I trimmed it down. This was along the top there. This was along the top. And this was along the sides. So I just trimmed out the piece of paper that I wanted. So I got the right size for my journal. So that's going to be our background. Okay, so that's going to go in here. So this is what I want to use. The butterfly counts not months but moments and has time enough. Now this looks a little bit washed out on the video, but it's pretty good in real life. You could also, if you had the patience, go ahead and take a very, very fine liner and line that out. It would even be better if you had, instead of black, like a very fine, I might even have one here, but like a very fine blue might look good with that, but I didn't want to do that. So I think I'm just going to go for right now. I'm going to get this glued down, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got that all fastened down. I just used a little bit of glue to get it all down, and then I just trimmed off the excess so that I knew what I was kind of dealing with. So that's going to be our background. And this project that I want to do today is something that's been on my mind for quite a while, and I just wasn't sure. I was just waiting, I guess, for the right images to come along. So that'll be our background. And then in this issue, they have these kind of like card, a little, not quite cardstock, but more than glossy paper. It's a heavier paper as postcards. So I'm going to make use of that. I have cut out this one, and this is the one that we're going to use mostly for the layout. But then I have gone along and I've cut out some images from these other postcards to go with that. So when somebody asked about the fussy cutting, what I do to get an image taken out, I used to pull the whole page out and harvest the whole page. And then as my Daphne's Diary stuff started collecting, it was hard to determine what page came from what magazine. So I'm trying to do more of just taking an image out and leaving the main bits still in the magazine. So to do this, I have a little cutting board that I think I got both of these at the dollar store. I'm not sure. And I have two little cutters. So I have the Fiskar, and I think this is called precision knife. And what I do, I don't even try to cut it out in any kind of detail. I just hack it out. And once I get it out, then I do my fussy cutting. Now this little cutter pen is I think it's called a ceramic cutter, and this is really good for your pet stickers too. So those stickers that are on the plastic, like washi tape and stuff, where you can go around the image and you don't actually cut through the image and the adhesive adhesive strip underneath it. You can just cut the image out and then lift that up. So that's what this is. This one is really good for. I use this a lot. This one here. So, but that's what I've done here. So in this one here, I've taken out a couple butterflies, a butterfly from here, some flowers, and a couple butterflies from this one. And that's, I think all the images that we're going to use for this project. So what I want to do, and I've got my template here that I tried it out on. It's not my original idea. It's an idea that I've used many times in the past, but it's kind of like a pop-up. So when you open it, when you open the page, there's going to be like a little pop-up, pop-out, whatever you want to call it. So that's kind of my idea. And when I saw this background, I thought, well, wouldn't that be just the ideal to have a little flower basket that kind of opens up and then you have some butterflies. So that's what we're going to aim to do. Now I have done some measurements that's going to fit my book. So my book is, my page is about 8.5 by 5.5. And one of the things you want to make note, it's just less than 5.5, is that if you're going to do a pop out, then you want to make sure when your page closes, it's not going to stick out the end. So you want to make it so that when it's folded, well, when you do it, the length of the whole box shouldn't exceed the length of your page. Okay, and I'll explain that again in just a minute. But for mine, I want to have a couple of my flaps so that I can glue it onto the page. So I've made those 1/2 inch on each end. And then in the middle, I have 5 3/8. So my whole piece of paper that I need to create my little pop out is going to be 6 3/8. And then I made it by 2.5. So I knew I wanted to use this as my basket, but I wasn't sure about where to cut and what to do. So I went to my vellum trick that I've used here a lot on this channel, and I kind of move it around to see where I might want to, what image I might want to use. So when I laid it down here, that's about where I wanted to use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get my cutting board out, my trimmer I mean, and I'm going to trim off the bottom because I know that's going to be flat, and I know I went right to the line of the border there, and then I'm just going to go up this line just until where I have already made a mark. So then I'm going to do a little bit of fussy cutting. So in this instance, I've made a line, just a very faint line around where I want to fussy cut. Now, if I was sitting watching television and doing this, then I was going to say I might do a different technique, but I think I would still do the same technique. And one of the things that you want to do is so I'm right-handed, so I have my scissors in my right hand, so I'm kind of guiding the paper around more with my left hand. I'm doing a bit of a chopping motion with my right hand, but my left is sort of in the driver's seat. The other thing I'm not worried about is every little detail. Now, if you want every little detail, then that's fine. However, you don't need all those little details. I do, though, want to show some definition. So you want to make sure that you're doing little dips and tucks here and there. And again, I'm no expert, but because that's going to give your image a little bit of dimension and life and interest, I guess. So where there's a flower, try to make little in and out motions so that it kind of mimics. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly what the flower is showing you. You can make your own. The other thing is try to avoid any really sharp edges, because a lot of images, especially like if they're die cut or, you know, stickers, don't really have a lot of sharp images. So you want to sort of round those corners a little bit. And it's your journal, so do it to please your eye. really. And then the other thing you want to take note of is the tools that you're using. So if you're trying to do a little bit of fine fussy cutting with a great big pair of scissors, it's just, to do any amount for me is too hard, but I have my arthritis in my hand. But besides these scissors, which are really good, I just got these at the dollar store and they're pretty good scissors, but I have two other ones, and one is a very fine tip and this one here is even finer, where I can get in, if I need to get those stubborn little bits out that I feel may make a difference in my image. Now, depending on what I'm going to use the image for, depends on how much of a border that I use. So in many images, especially in the Daphne Diary, I don't leave a white border around it. But in some of my collage work, like with my Marguerite Miller, I'm not too worried about leaving a white border around my image. So it's all going to depend on really how you want to use that image. The other thing to consider is that oftentimes when you do cut, there's a white inside of the paper. There's a white edge there. So there's a number of ways you can get rid of that. You can take a blender brush and some inks and you can kind of blend that out. I do that sometimes. I'm not a really grungy journalist, so I do like things a little bit more plain as far as, being really distressed a lot. But one thing that I do is I'll take a brush, I'll take some of my Pitt pens, and then I'll just go along the edge, holding that with my thumb, because otherwise I'm going to end up writing on the image. And then that just, in a subtle way, stands that image out from your background. And now you can do that with any color. If you think that it's going to enhance, if your image is all blue, maybe you want to do it in blue. In this instance, I don't really think I need to do that. So this here, I think. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, that I've got it basically cut out, is I'm going to put in my 1/2 inch on each end, which is my little hinge. It's going to be a hinge. So I'm just going to fold that over. So there's my hinge on each end. And then the easiest way to figure out where it's going to hinge in the middle is I lean it up against here, a hard surface, wherever, it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to find the middle. And that's going to be how that's going to pop up. Okay, so I don't really need that scoreboard anymore. So that's going to be how the basket's going to pop up. And what I was saying before is you want to make sure that when your page closes, your bit's not going to be stuck at the end there. So the middle of this is here. So if that's kind of stuck down, if my hinge is going to be right about there, and that's going to be closed, that's going just to the very edge. It's not going to pop off the edge. But if that was just a fraction longer, then it may end up being that when this closes, you would see it off the end, which really, I mean, it wouldn't really even matter. It's your book. So my next step, I think, is going to be, what my next step will be is I wanted to put, I like dimensional things, of course. So I wanted to put just a little bit of lace at the bottom. So I'm going to do that now because I think it's going to be easier than when I get this all hinged down. So this is just a little bit of lace I picked up at the dollar store. I have some vintage lace, but I thought we'd just use this today. It's cheap and cheerful. Okay, and you don't want to pull it really tight because then your basket won't be able to close. So just keep it tight enough that it's not gonna be wibbly wobbly, but that you can still open and close the basket. Okay. So then that's that part. And then I think we can go ahead and get that fastened down. Yeah, I think we can. So the way I'm going to fasten this down is just going to put some glue. And I am using Tombow glue because this is going to open and close. So I find Tombow has a, I think I'll leave that like that, has a tighter grip, harder grip. It's more secure, I think. The thing to remember about this Tombow, though, not the Aqua Tombow, but that one, is that it dries tacky. So you just want to be aware of that. Okay, so I want to line that up. So that's my center. And then I just want to make it relatively straight across the bottom. And then push my hinges down. Okay. And that there, I'm not really sure I like that bit. So I think I'm just gonna cut that off. Like that better. Okay, so then we just want to make sure our hinges are... Now don't go glue crazy because you don't want it all seeping out, because mine has seeped out a little bit there and I don't like that. I could have used what I should have used. Well, no. I was happy to use the glue because in case I needed to reposition. Then you can reposition a lot better with glue. Okay, so we've got that down and that is stuck pretty good. Okay, so when we go to open that page, oops. My sticker lifted up. So when we're going to go to open that page, it's going to open like that, which I think is really cute. So then what we're going to do is, with those bits that I already fussy cut it out, we are going to just embellish our thing. So I've got a few butterflies, I've got some more flowers, and I'm not really sure. I think we could put like, those are tiny, so I think they can go up there. So what I also do, if I can find it in my mess here, is I keep a little drawer with a bunch of just little plastic pieces, and I'm gonna pull out a few here that we might need, because what I thought we can do, and excuse me if my head gets in the way, say, oi, move your head, is that put a couple butterflies on this little plastic strip. And I'm going to wipe that off because that's just leaked a little bit there. Okay, so I've got that on my little plastic strip, and then I don't want it to be jumping out way too high. So I'm thinking like maybe that far. That it can be kind of popping up at an angle. Okay, and then I'm just going to use a little bit of my score tape, I think, instead of the Tombow, which I think will probably stick just as well. So I'm just going to get that stuck down. So maybe kind of like that. And again, you want to make sure when it closes, it'll open and close. So that is catching just a little bit on his wing. So I'm just going to trim that just a little bit. That's just fine. Okay, and then, yeah, and that'll open and it doesn't stick out of the edge. So then I'm just going to do the same thing with this other little butterfly. And I have another little strip here. So get that down. And then I just cut out some of the extra flowers that we can put some extra flowers down too. And what about, I like that. Again, I need to move it over just a little bit. Because, oops. So what happened, my piece of tape came off on the other side. If I can get that off without causing too much of a disaster. I could have just put a little piece of paper on it. Okay. So when this closes, we can't angle it too high because it needs to be able to open and close. So I'm saying maybe right about there. So I think that should work. It was over a little bit too far, so it was going to catch. Okay, so let's see here. If that were to close and open, I think that would be fine. Let's try that. Awesome. Okay, so that works there. And then I'm kind of thinking just to add a little bit of dimension, just to have them on, I'm just using Elmer's glue for this, just to stick some around the page there. And then once he's tacked down, we can pull his little wings up. And then here's another little one, which I think would go kind of good there. We could do another one on the, you can do as many as you like on the little plastic strips, of course. Oh, I kind of like that. Sometimes it's just nice to have, not exactly simple, but I think I might like, what if we did one kind of close to there? And then when that closes, it would go there, and when it opens, it would be there. Yeah. Okay, so then I'm just going to get another little piece here. Today is today's Saturday. And this is going to go out on Friday. So today is Saturday, June the 8th. And it's, I'm here in Halifax. And the weather is a little bit muggy today. We've got this system that's stalled over the Maritimes. So that always causes a little bit of delayed, overcast, dreary days. Probably why my arthritis is really acting up today. Except I've been out in the garden a lot, and I took your advice, and I was telling about my lilies and some of the issues I was having with the lily beetle. Well, I can say that I have been diligent in getting out there and eradicating the issue. So I haven't seen one for ages, and my lilies are just looking beautiful. Now, I have been putting the coffee grinds. I save them. I do a Keurig, but my pods that I use are, you can put them in the compost, but I've been taking them apart and putting the coffee and putting it kind of out. So I don't know if maybe that's helping. And then one of you had suggested that I put some marigolds down. So I went and got some marigolds, and I've planted those. I kind of like that. It's just there. And I put those out, but that was just yesterday. So I planted those, and I bought 3 hanging baskets. I don't remember if I remember saying that, and I only really had room for 2. So I hung another one of those arm things off the sort of end of the deck in a different way. And I'm really liking that. I was thinking, what else did I have here? I thought I had 4 flowers cut already. That's my issue, is I get moving things around on my desk, and then the woe of the crafter. I didn't want to use that because I felt that was too big. And that one there I could make do with, but I did like that one. I just thought I had another couple. This one here and this one here. Okay, so this one here I'm going to cut down a little bit smaller, I think. I thought I had another little one, but I don't. But yeah, so I got my hanging baskets out. I have 2 hydrangeas. One is two of them are the everlasting summer ones. They're different types, so they have kind of different foliage, and the blooms are a little bit different from each other. And then I was telling you that I went out and bought another hydrangea because they seem to do good in my yard, and my yard is very small. I don't know the exact dimensions of my garden, but it's not very big at all. So anyways, I bought another hydrangea, which is, I forget the name of it, but it has white blooms that kind of go to a taper. And that I planted couple weeks ago maybe, and that's doing lovely. I wonder if I put that up there like that. I was kind of thinking of putting it so that it was a bit dimensional, but it's a little bit big to go there. What I think I'll do is go back to the magazine, and I'm going to cut out maybe another, like this one here, I think would go there, because I could put this one down in this corner. Okay, so I need my mat. So yeah, so that's doing good. And what else is doing good? I planted some gladiola, so I hadn't had gladiola in this garden. I planted those. I planted 10 bulbs, and 10 are coming up, so we'll see how that goes. My little rose, rugosa rose, has a couple little rose blooms on it. My butterfly bush, the poor thing has been through the war, and I wasn't hopeful that it would rejuvenate this year, because I think the earwigs got it last year. But I cut it all back, and I freshened up the soil around it, and put the gladiola, or the marigolds around it last night, and I had already put, yeah, I think that'll be good. Had already put coffee grinds, made sure I've been watering it when we don't have, and it's just looking lovely. It's looking quite healthy. Actually, that flower goes good there because it looks like it's on that stem. Okay, so what don't we have tacked down? We have that down and that down and that down. So for those little flowers, I just wanted to use a little dimension to make it pop up off the page a little bit. So that would, again, add something for your eye to rest on. I can get that off. I have been telling you that I've been working full-time. And it's been mainly doing, I guess, what you'd call project works, because one of our team leaders has been out. So they finally put it as a term position, and I was successful in getting the term position. So I'll be working full-time again for a while, which is a good thing. It just means that I don't have as much time for crafting as I'd like. I'd like to put... I wish I had another little butterfly to go there, but I salvaged all those butterflies. So I guess I should have put that little one just there. Can I get that off? Yeah, why not? And then I'm going to put that. Oh yeah, that'll look good because it'll have a flower. Oh, that worked out perfect. Put that down. Oh yeah, because then that's symmetrical with flowers. And then I can put this little butterfly just in there. Yeah, like that. So I'm going to find another little piece of plastic. And then I'll need a smaller piece of tape. So yeah, so far that term position is for the summer. And I'm really enjoying it. We'll see how it goes. It means I don't know. It just means I'll have less time crafting. It's Monday to Friday, but I never really have an issue with working weekends. I guess it's because I've worked shift work for 30 years, so. And I find that having a day off during the week is great if you need to go to the doctor or... So I think I'm gonna try that. Let's try there. Oh, nice. Oh, it's cute. Okay, so let's get down to doing a bit of embellishing. So one thing I thought I might add is I got these at the dollar store the other day. Not the other day, a while ago. And they're like plastic, really dimensional. Not sure if they'll work here or not. But the thing I wanted, though, is to make it blend in with my project more. So I took my alcohol markers and I actually just colored them. And I think that I'm really liking it. So let's just get a couple of these down. And I don't want them so that they're going to end up kind of in the same place. See how that's cute? For $1. Wow. Who knew? Okay, so thinking, well, these might end up overlapping, but let's see if that's going to be an issue. I don't think so. Okay, so we got those down. So that's always a good tip, that if you see something and you think, oh, you know, you don't like the color, you know, obviously some things you can't color, but if they're white, you can definitely color them. The same as these little rivets. Not necessarily the gold ones, but you can. But I have silver ones too that I color all the time to match my project. All right, so now I'm going to go into my stash that I usually do to find how we're going to embellish things. So I don't want to get, now that I've got those little things down, and they really do add, you can't even hardly, I mean, you can't it doesn't even pick it up on camera how luscious that looks. But I definitely want to get some little bodies into these guys because they just have to have bodies. And I'm going to go back to my go-to for my butterfly ones. And that's these Spellbinders Gold Mix Color Essentials Gems. I'm just looking for my tweezers. I find that hard to pick up. And I will link these in the description box below. I do have an affiliate link with Amazon. There's no, it's actually just pennies to be honest, but there's no extra cost to you, and it just helps you kind of find things better. Let's try this one. Bling, bling, bling. Love the bling. That keeps moving around. Okay, and Chester, he was just in here, but he took off to go sit in the window. Okay, so we've got our bling on our butterflies. We just need to get this guy so he doesn't feel left out. So I'm thinking this one will do for him. Okay, and I'm thinking that a couple of these little yellow ones down there, I might use my honeybee little gems. Except these ones here, I find they keep falling off. I'm going to use a very light yellow, I think, for that one. And then a darker yellow. Oops. For this one underneath here. So that's good. And then I think for this little guy here, I might just use this little one that I just flickered across the room here. Let's try another one. The trick with using tweezers is not to press too hard, because if you really clutch onto it, that's when it goes pinging. Okay, and then I wanted to put something in here, and I kind of auditioned a couple things. I didn't want a massive sized one, and I wanted it more on the orange side than not. I kind of like this one, I think. I think this was it. This was the one. Possibly. Yeah, so I wanted this size one for this one here. For that one, and then I just wanted a smaller one for that one, so I guess I'll use this one here. I went to the flea market, I think I was telling you, maybe my last video, and I bought some air-dried clay. It was a lady there who had some air-dried clay, and I've came back and I made all kinds of little flowers in these little molds that I had. And then I was wondering, well, what am I going to do with all those flowers? I also made myself a little watercolor palette that I can use when I'm just wanting to use a couple little colors. I kind of like that. That's massive, so it may not end up working out right, but oops. But I like it. Oh, that looks lush. That's nice. And then I think that one will work there. Now it can't be on the crease, but I think it's not. Nope. So then the only thing we have left are those little guys there. not sure. We could go lighter. Don't really like that color with that. I should go back to my stash after, because you guys get the picture. What about one of these? Oh, that's nice. So we use that big one. That looks grand. Okay. And then for that one there, gosh, we are loaded down with gems. But why not? I went so long just not using what I had in my stash, saving it for, what, a rainy day? Well, today's a rainy day. I should have pulled out more because I'm not happy with something for there or there, because they're kind of the same colors. So I wanted something different. So I'll work around at that, but you get the picture on that one. So I think that's pretty good. We have that. It'll be our center page. We open it up. Oh, you're shouting at me. What about him? Yeah, all his friends have something except he doesn't. There we go, buddy. Oh. This one's really going to be blinged out. But it's getting to be the last pages in this book. I'll soon be starting another one. Yeah, so I'm kind of happy with that. Now, I can't at this moment put it into my book. I had already thought about this, because where it's going to go, I can't, it's not going to pop open because it's just not. The twine, but I'm actually going to be sewing this in. So when I sew it in, it will pop open fine. Okay. So that's our page for today. Let's see. Dum-de-dum-dum-dum. And there you go. Gosh, I love it. I love it, love it. Okay, but before we go, I did want to go over some show and tell happy mail, as I've been doing at the end of my videos lately. So I had a little pack from Chris from the UK. Thanks so much, Chris. I got this today in the mail, and there's some lovely materials that these are, I just love them. They're quite thickish, so I think they would make good pockets. Lots of things you could use that for. And then just some little bits and bobs. Daisy, love the daisies. A couple little postcards. And then I love how the doily has been folded. I'm going to put this in my junk journal the next time I get that out, because I think it's a good reminder of how to use the doily as side pockets. And then I love those little doilies. And then just some little die cuts, which were great. A couple little tags and little pieces. So thank you so much, Chris, for that. And then I got another postcard from Heike in Germany, and that is absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry to hear that you hadn't been feeling well, and I hope that you're on the mend. And thank you so much for that lovely postcard. And then lastly, I was at the thrift store this morning, because that's what I do sometimes on a Saturday morning. And I was just rooting through the books, and I found this book, which I thought was absolutely heavenly. It's the ladies' book. It is vintage. It's 1972, so that's like 52 years ago. Wow. And it's all about, it's all about lady stuff. And it's like how-to as well, with crochet leaves between. And so I guess it's more of a treasury of needlework projects. This was first published in 1838. So I just thought that this was a really great find for $3.99. I'm running out of space for books on my bookcase, but anyways, I'd like to thank you guys for joining me today. And if you did like that project, then please give me a like and subscribe if you haven't. And until we meet again, I hope you stay safe and well, and bye for now.